So what a psychopathic child may do in response to a quarrel may be to totally snap or cut this head off this plush toy. To a certain extent, some children even brag about things that do not happen. Hello Channel NITT viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So after I've released my episode on psychopaths, one or two parents have actually asked me personally whether their children's behaviours are psychopathic. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about psychopathy versus immorality. The word immoral may sound very unpleasant, however, in psychology, it just refers to actions that are not moral. So this table will summarize the differences between psychopathy and immorality. A psychopath tends to perform behaviour that is harmful to others, such as dragging a chair, playing a prank to scare people. They derive pleasure from seeing others becoming frightened or even hurt. A psychopath does not care about the consequences of their behaviours to other people, and their actions are mainly used to derive pleasure for themselves. On the other hand, a person who is immoral might perform behaviour that is only beneficial to themselves. These behaviours might include cheating in tests, or asking for bribes, embezzling money. So an immoral person only cares about the interest to themselves. So while the psychopath does not care about the consequence of their behaviours to other people, the immoral person really cares about the consequence to themselves. They must benefit from it in one way or another. So of course, under this definition, moral values must be what the society accepts as socially acceptable behaviour. So it is not socially acceptable to cheat. It is also not socially acceptable to embezzle other people's money. So therefore, these actions oppose existing moral and legal values and will be considered immoral. So as you can see, a psychopath may not be immoral, and an immoral person may not be psychopathic. So making your friend fall down may be a psychopathic tendency, but it's not immoral. And stealing other people's things is immoral, but not psychopathic. So our focus for this episode is on children. We will talk about adults, immoral adults, on another episode. Immoral behaviour sounds very exciting to talk about, right? Especially when it comes to... So based on our definition earlier in this video, we will be able to tell between a psychopathic child and an immoral child. Of course, the word immoral child really sounds very bad, but that is just a definition or the way we say it in psychology. If you want to put it nicely, maybe you can say the child who has not mastered socially desirable values. But that's really a handful to say in this video. My tongue cannot manage. So just let's keep to it and say it's immoral children, okay? So a psychopathic child might engage in behaviours that are harmful to others. A child with psychopathic tendencies may, in response to a quarrel with a sibling or a friend, totally damage a toy. So I have a plush toy over here, right? You can see. So what a psychopathic child may do in response to a quarrel may be to totally snap or cut this head off this plush toy so that her sibling, his classmate or her classmate will not get to ever get this toy again. Let's die together. That's the mentality of a psychopathic child. On the other hand, immoral children may be more common, and immoral children might engage in these four broad types of behaviours. Before we talk about this, there is a disclaimer. Children who are immoral or who engage in this kind of behaviours may actually have a lot of proper training from their parents, but they may have learnt these immoral behaviours from other sources. So we will discuss that in another episode, not this episode. In this episode, we will only focus on looking at the four types of behaviours that children engage in. The first type of behavior that is not very socially acceptable would be lying. So sometimes children want to get their way, they may lie. They understand that if they lie, they might be able to avoid blame on them, or they might get something. So children may lie not only to their parents but also to their teachers and to their friends. To a certain extent, some children even brag about things that do not happen. So they will tell you that I have this friend, he's a very rich person, he has 3-story building, but in actual fact, no such friend. Why does he say that? He wants to portray himself as associated with a person who is rich. So in his understanding, this makes him more likable. Anyway, it's quite puzzling. In a lot of my previous episodes, I have already explained to you that children actually think quite differently from adults. So do not try to interpret what a child is doing from the adult point of view. The second common behavior that children may engage in that is not socially desirable is dishonesty. So while playing a game on Uno or maybe Monopoly, they may throw a dice and then they did not get what they want. So they will say, don't count, no count, start again, one more time. So they always only want to win, they only think of the interest for themselves. So dishonesty is also a very common behavior in children. This is to protect their developing ego. So as you can see, lying and dishonesty are slightly different. Next, the third example that we will talk about is cheating. So while playing a game with them, they might try to get an unfair advantage, either by penalizing the opposing team or making themselves more likely to win. It might appear very harmless. For example, when a child is playing catching and then they were supposed to hide, then they were supposed to count to 20. So the cheating child might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, bro. And then that's cheating, right? So if your child does that, then it satisfies the condition of immorality. Finally, more seriously, the behavior that your child might be engaging in that demonstrates undesirable social behavior would be stealing. So sometimes your child may steal things in your own house, especially money. They may also steal the stationery items of their classmates. They may claim that they did not realize that somehow or another that eraser has entered his or her pencil case and it says that it's an accident. And of course, as a parent, just by using your intuition, you will know. So can you think of other cases of immoral behavior in children? Of course, in adults, you also have things like embezzlement, adultery. But you wouldn't expect a child to commit all this, right? So we'll talk about this concept in more detail in other episodes. If you have enjoyed this episode, do consider subscribing if you have not subscribed. We will continue to produce more videos like this that will give you insight into the world around you and on children. So I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!